on my farmstead wasn't also working the field.
All right, I'm
That's
sure
right.
you have people that work for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
those
man.
lazy huskarls.
Yep.
Oh man, Grim, you should have asked me for advice beforehand, then you would have gotten 3 labor.
Well, this is
Well-
beginning a session, so it's
Oh,
before he
okay.
can give you
Yeah.
advice. So, yeah, Haiti Holdbasin's like, okay, listen. Aitland Crushed Hands wanted to make a deal with Graham Olson regarding some wood lumber. But it seems like things are getting pretty salty here.
That's putting it lightly.
What's the plan, gentlemen? I'm not letting those Norwegians take me alive.
I don't think they intend to.
Based on the arrow.
Yeah.
Now,
We
if
were,
only-
He's just like, I liked you guys better when you were fighting the other village.
Isn't he still a part of the other village, or is
No,
he?
he's an ambassador between all 3 groups. So he's
Okay.
an ambassador between the Christians, Aitland. Well, it's now called Aitland's farmstead and this farmstead.
wasn't he largely responsible for the current state of peace between us?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure you liked it better when we were all fighting, but right now I think we might need everybody to band together unless we will all be killed by these Norwegians coming into our homes.
So he nods and he's like, it's a 2-day march. And that's a hard march. Back to Aitland's farmstead. And that's assuming that it wasn't the middle of the night and I hadn't already walked all the way here.
And taking an arrow, yes, I know.
Oh, well, I could walk off an arrow. The issue is, I probably need a horse if I'm to get there and back again in time to do anything. So I ask again, what's your plan, Baldur Odinson? You're the leader here, aren't you?
Yes, I believe that I am for the time being. And while I still have power, best use it for the good of the village.
Aye.
But I am going to need to ask the lot of you. This is not an easy course of action that needs to be taken if we are to survive. And I don't think it is fair just because I am the leader that I do not have complete rule over all of you. This is something I believe that we are going to need to discuss a little bit.
So
Get to the
I think
bottom
at this point, Bertie has decided. She's been sort of thinking about this the whole time, and there's no way she's going to give up her family to. I'm going to say the wrong name.
Gurney.
Gurney.
Yes,
There's no way she's going to give up her daughters to Gurney, and there's also no way she's going to allow Olaf to fight these Norwegians right now. And so she is going to roll for strong-headed. She is going to set her mind that that her family needs to leave tonight.
Okay, that's
Her family.
a shield maiden move.
Right.
Okay.
So that's a 7. I have a +3 to young.
Oh, really? I was going to say that's a terrible roll, but then it turns out it's okay.
It's okay. So on a 7 to 9, you gain +1 forward to all actions in pursuit of that thing until you get it or it becomes impossible. So I don't get my ongoing, but I get a +1 forward.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay, so I think immediately when you start setting yourself, that's the point when Olaf Olafsson pivots around and faces Baldur Odinson, and a strike of lightning on the sea in the background just kind of back illuminates him. And he looks very dark right now. And he like reaches his axe out towards Baldur Odinson and says, "No! Gothi, there's no time to talk. They are on our soil now. Need to take them out. We can do it, you and I, back to back, 2 against many."
They will not remember whether we were good men or bad. Only that 2 stood against many.
Yes, exactly.
I'm afraid they will not remember us at all if that is what we do. We have a chance at calling out Freki for his actions and sending the army into disarray and trying to leave with every member of this village in the night. I do not believe we can fight them all. They are too many.
I would like to try and entice Olaf.
What are you saying exactly?
She's going to try and go up to Olaf and say, "This is not how we should fight them. Think about me and your children. We will be there for you. We will come back and we will kill them. We will take back our farm from them. But you will never get me if you are dead. And you will not, and I will not let you give me to them in this poor way."
This is hard because it sounds to me like you're raising your voice and talking sense.
Okay.
Right? Like, I'm not sure you really enticed him with anything.
Unless you just, point at yourself and say, hey, if you want to get some of this, you're going to have to
I
play it
suppose
smart.
that could be an interpretation.
I was trying to go for
You were
a
like,
more
"If
genteel
you want
version of that.
this-" All
But
right.
yeah,
All right.
that's what I was
We'll
trying to
do
go
it.
for.
Okay. Roll your young. Play to your strengths.
So that's
man, this is-
5,
Oh,
and then I don't know if I
Jesus.
get my forward for a 6, which probably doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Okay. So, before this happens, I just want to remind everyone that this is a game about gender roles. It takes place in 905 Iceland, and that men talk down to women at this time. So, when you say that to him, he kind of rushes up and gets in your face, Bertie Halsdotter, and says, "You! Woman! We need to stop them. I agreed to stand with you against Freki and Gurney. And that means now standing against Freki and Gurney. Not talking about things. Not hoping the soldiers will not respect Freki. You think they respect them any more than than we do?" Just shaking his weapons in your face, Bert.
This is not about respect. This is about winning. This is about driving these invaders from our homes. And 2 men cannot do that. But if we come back, we can later.
Come back. When we come back, there will be hundreds of Norwegians on these ships. We can take them out now.
And will we not have hundreds? Will we not be worth 3 to their every one? Will our one not be worth 3 of them? We will drive them as surely as the ocean drives birds from the rocks. They will flee. But now is not the time.
That.
Suck a dick.
So you're rolling first. Got
Yeah.
a 9. You hold
Yeah.
1. You can give ice on a favorable course of action or warning against a course of action to those present. You have such a one that you would like to put into place now, or do you bank that?
Alright, so hold on a second. You can spend your one to give advice on a favorable course of action or warnings against a course of action. I will give warnings against a course of action. I will warn that we cannot fight them and win now.
Okay.
We must fight them later.
So
I think I'm afraid some blood must be shed tonight, I say.
So anybody that tries to fight them now gets a 1 against their rolls to...
anybody that agrees with your plan gets a +1. So I think Olaf throws his shield down in front of his wife and says, "Bertie! Talking sense again. Knew there was a reason I married you." And he pulls you into a big bear hug, like Olaf does, and like clasps you on the back. And all right, I've calmed down.
Haiti, hold basin.
I
Are there enough men in up in the other village, Aiton's farmstead, to help repel the Norse?
Oh, well, I mean, there's Aitlin Crushtans there. He's worth, what, 4 or 5 men?
Indeed.
I think they rate him at 1 Olaf's.
That's an appropriate scale of power, I think.
Yeah, but he's actually saying that, like, nudging Grim at that time. Like, he's like one Olaf. If you really want to repel them, you're gonna have to get the Christians involved.
Well, the Christians certainly don't like the Norse coming here. You do realize what the Norsemen were going to do to the Christians.
It's gonna take a deal, though. They want something from you when you do this. I'm sure we can get Aitland behind this. You know he hates the Norwegians. That's not the problem.
But the Christians, surely, the Norse do not take kindly to Christianity at this particular point in time. They will either be forced to forsake their beliefs or leave this island or die. Surely they must back us.
Got a bigger problem. Aitland won't fight beside Olaf.
Huh.
Olaf killed his wife.
Well, if we attack from two directions, then he won't have to.
So Haiti, like, strokes his beard real quick and says, "Sounds like you've come up with a plan, Baldur Odinson. Care to let the rest of us in on the details?"
Well, I had planned on one team going out and attacking the ship, creating a diversion, while the rest of them sneak up on the people in town and let's just put this like it is: murder them in the night and throw them into the ocean.
Aye. There's a couple problems with that.
There's a lot of problems with that.
As I mentioned, it's going to be at least a day's ride there and a day's ride back to get Aitland and his men. And by that time, those ships out there, and he points out on the horizon, and a dramatic thunderbolt comes down through the driving sheets of rain and illuminates another dozen ships coming into dock. Like, if they land, your plan's not going to work anymore. It sounds like you're going to have to do it now with what you've got. Now, if I remember correctly, I think the only real warriors you've got are Olaf Olafsson, his men, and Aesgarder and her men. He says, and Meckley, I guess.
Yes.
He wipes a tear from his eye. Oh, good old Meckley. Always good for a laugh. And of course, there's Grim Olfsson. And perhaps, Bertie here would be kind enough to take up her shield.
I will always have my spear in defense of my family and town.
That gives you about a dozen men versus 4 dozen of theirs.
There is one problem with this plan. Freki has his wife at his side. Surely she will foresee any action played against her.
Well, she doesn't exactly like him.
True.
So Heidi's like, what's all this about not liking him? I thought they've been happily married for 3 years.
One might think.
One might think, but fortunately for us, she seems to want him dead.
I think
pretty surprised. He's like, what?
Gurney is a snake in the grass and not to be trusted.
I don't think we can trust her, and I'm certainly not going to go through with that deal of hers. I wouldn't dare ask the two of you to hand over your son. That deal is ridiculous. But what we could do is offer...
Bertie sort of sniffs at the incomprehensibility of you asking such a thing of her.
Heidi just looks confused because he's not up to date on any of this.
Like I said, there's no way I'm going to go through with that plan. But we do have another option of simply offering Gurney another deal. I mean, if all goes according to plan, we are going to need to leave. She wants this village. She can have this location for all I care, if she is willing to help us. But she's not getting what she wants most of all, which is Olaf Olafsson Jr. and other things. She might still be willing to help us. Then we're going to need to confront Freki, and we're going to need to get those ships to not come into port today. It's not going to be easy.
I don't think the ships will be docking in the middle of a storm. I
They're
think we'll have
currently
tonight,
starting docking maneuvers right now.
even though the storm is literally upon them.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm glad you mentioned the storm because, by the way, what's happening is as you look out over the bay, the rain has stopped falling. Raindrops are actually forming in the ocean and going back up towards the clouds. Lightning is striking in the wrong direction. And you hear a voice call out from everywhere and nowhere. And it says, Baldur Odin, what price would you pay to defeat your enemy?
I would pay quite a dear price, but I cannot ask the same of my people.
Would you give your life for your people?
I would.
Baldur Odinson, if you throw yourself into the ocean and do not resist its gentle waves, I will sink those ships.
Okay, does this sound like a gurney talking, or does this sound like...
It's a deep voice that's coming from, like, inside your head.
Okay.
Where's Gurney?
There's no gurney anywhere in sight.
I'm gonna need to consider this.
Oh, just do it.
Well, I'm gonna need to consider whether or not this is actually, a spirit of the land that's actually going to stand up to its...
Nobody else can hear this. We just see the water
Yeah,
and the lightning.
All of you hear it.
Oh,
All of you
And,
hear it. Yep.
and I'm like,
Bertie
Someone in
will,
the chat's
well.
immediately saying, don't do it.
Bertie is immediately thinking that this is
So-
Gurney.
Grim does not think this is Gurney at all. This is a different deal than what Gurney offered us.
it is indeed.
It is a means to her end. She wants us broken and defeated, and I will not see her have her way.
Well, it's a question of whether or not you trust the voice on the wind, so to speak. But this is not the deal that Gurney offered. Gurney requested a different deal, and whatever this is, it is different parameters. And I might add, incredibly easy to exploit a loophole in the sense that one of us can just dive in after him. The deal was he'd not resist. That was the deal. So
The spirits of Iceland are notoriously fickle and don't like being played with.
that's
Yeah,
fair. Although the deal was not that you drown, it's just that you not resist. So
Yes.
yeah.
I think the phrasing of "would you give your life," I think the tone was set early on. But
Just a little bit.
we have the option available to us that he can throw himself in at the mercy of the seas and destroy the fleets that are currently landing. We still have the problem of the soldiers that are here.
Well, there's a lot of us.
There are a lot of us, but I anticipate we'll need some sort of distraction.
like all of
ships
the like the
being-
lightning going the wrong way and the rain rising into the air and suddenly
And,
the fleet
That
being
does not
destroyed.
seem-
So when you say that,
That would be
Heidi
quite a
Holdbayson
distraction.
is like, is this the work of Thor? What in the name of Odin is going on here?
It does sound a little bit like Thor. And I gotta say, if this truly is Thor, then how could a man like me resist that?
Do you have any ability to discern this the truth in this faith? My family studies the moon and the stars. We don't know much about these lightning and thunders.
Yeah, so Heidi turns to you, Baldur Odinson, and says, I'm not a priest or anything like this, but this looks like the end of days. Is this the friggin' Ragnarok?
Ragnarok, Skálmöld, whatever you wish to...
Ragnarok, then. Sorry, I'm, apparently I turned Irish this episode, so
You did, and it's hilarious.
I have to differentiate myself from all the people that sound like they're from Norway, so
That is okay. It happens to the best of us.
Oh,
the best,
man.
Dropping
the best Icelandic people turn Irish?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was more thinking of people during role-playing games dropping
Oh,
difficult
I
accents.
intentionally made Haiti Irish.
Oh.
That was the thing that I went into the episode knowing I was going to do.
Yeah, that's like me playing one of my characters where I enjoy butchering the Egyptian sounding English every
Yeah.
time.
I know we haven't discussed it a lot. I like to think that I've kind of, almost, maybe not totally offensive Icelandic accent, but I can only do one of them. I can't emulate like 4 or 5, so it's hard to switch between characters.
I keep
I can sympathize, Arthur.
All right, where are we in the gameplay? We
Okay.
have Haiti Holbason asking Balder what's happening.
Balder.
I have
We're
a
huddled up.
plan. I have a plan. I am
Does it involve throwing yourself into the ocean? Because I like this plan.
that is part of my plan, yes. But for it to have full effect, the lot of you will need to be doing some things during the time. I am certain I can create enough of a distraction for you to fight off Freki, his soldiers, and perhaps even if one of you wishes to speak to Gurney about not interfering, and even if she feels like it, she can go ahead and stab Freki in the back for all I care. Just that, sadly, she won't be getting her deal just yet.
So right now, Freki and Gurney are together. Is that right?
They're in the Longhouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Freki has said he would give us time to accept his offer, right?
Yeah. Oh, as did Gurney.
Yeah, weird. How that
Grim.
And then Gurney showed up and said the same thing, and then they went in the longhouse together.
Right. She offered you a very different deal.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that. Yeah.
And she gave you an hour, he gave you a day.
I basically I look at Olaf and I say, "You are the greatest warrior this village has ever produced. Challenge Freki for control.
Honganga?
Holmganga. I have no doubt in my mind that you will be victorious.
Balder.
Not only victorious, you will honorably kill him.
Balder.
During which, yes.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. During which time, I'm afraid the rest of the village is going to need to resort to slightly less dishonorable tactics of using the night, the distractions, bows and spears and other weapons of slightly less honor to kill the soldiers in this town. And before any more Norwegians arrive, we need to get all the things together. I've, by the way, hidden quite a bit of silver in the temple for emergencies. You should get that and travel to Aitlin's village. You'll need his help as well as that of the Christians to repel, because I have no doubt that more Norse will arrive.
Who will be our Gothi if you fall?
Who else? Who else? Olaf is the best warrior in the village, no doubt. But the man I think that has the best leadership abilities, and I hope Olaf takes no offense, is Grim. You are a good man, an honorable man. You always take what the village needs before your own needs, and I would gladly see us basically hand over my priesthood to you. You should be the one making the hard decisions out of combat, and let Olaf, your huskarl, to take care of battle.
So Olaf says, if you're throwing yourself... Oh, sorry. That's Heidi. If you're throwing yourself in the ocean, Balder, and I'm fighting the Holmganga, who will lead our troops?
Balder, your words do me honor. If you trust my judgment as much as you say, Let me face Freki in the Longhouse. Olaf, your skills are needed on the battlefield. It will be necessary for you to lead our people to repel the invaders that are on the land.
Hmm.
I think at
That
this
is-
point,
You make a you can make a compelling argument, Grim. Yes, I believe this is probably a better course of action. Let me tell you, I have once fought a Holmganga. Wait for...
You're okay. Everyone knows what's happening. You're obviously activating your expert ability, but we're all laughing for some reason.
Wait for him to show vulnerability and stab him in the leg with you. Stab him in the leg. It is not a very honorable thing, but you need to survive this one. Do not tempt fate. And
What
I will be.
exactly does this allow him to get?
He gets +1 going forward, and it gives me a bond with him. And I'm going to be spending from beyond the grave all my bonds with Grim to give him to make that home Gunga go
Give me
better.
a bonus on my choice of actions in the Longhouse.
So here's one
Basically,
problem.
yeah.
You are taking a -1 forward from Birdie. She already gave you advice to not do this exact plan.
So I would like to point out that I have not said I'm going to challenge him to
Okay.
So I am actually, like, my character does not intend to fight in the Longhouse.
Okay.
My character is going there. I don't believe that Freki is the real threat here. I'm going there as a distraction. I'm going
Gurney is
there
the real
to try
threat.
to turn the Norse soldiers and Freki against Gurney. That is my plan. I'm keeping quiet to myself because I don't think that this is going to end well for Grim Ulfson, and it is not in his nature to dwell on things that.
That's really badass Norris. You're like, all right, I've accepted my fate. Let's kill that witch.
Yeah.
And, of course, as you know from watching lots of television, if you discuss the plan out loud, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
That is true.
Only by keeping your plan completely secret can she not see it happen from the future.
exactly.
Yep.
All right.
So at this point, yeah, is there anyone that I would like to talk to that's currently here?
Bertie is just shaking her head and like muttering, "No, it can't end like this. No."
Bertie, this is not an end. This is how it will begin.
Is that
So
the
let me
point
spend
where
a
we have,
bond
like,
with
a
Bertie.
drum
How
line?
can I get your character to go along with this plan?
Are you
Okay.
spending a
Yeah,
bond
you
on
spend a bond.
Yep.
on Bertie?
On Bertie.
I mean, her family has to be safe. She has to have some. If you can convince her that that this will be victory and that perhaps her family can get away, then I think she would go along with it. But she didn't believe when we started the conversation that we could win. But you have to remember that was before Thor showed up and all the lightning and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's
So
that changes the game a little bit.
yeah. Bertie, I do not believe that no matter where we run, we will be safe from the Norse. Both Gurney and Freki have approached us with deals, and breaking either one would draw their ire, no matter where we go on this island. And if we do not stop the Norse here, they will overtake the entire island, and we will have nowhere to hide. This is really the only chance we have to save the lives of your family and the lives of mine.
Chance we have one man sitting in our Goti's longhouse with his snake of a wife, both of them taking our town out from under us, and you speak of consolation prizes. They should be driven from the land into the sea, sundered like sand and rocks, salted the earth where their corpses are, so that all will know that they are nothing but rot.
I feel like while you're saying that, in my mind, that was a voiceover of like a 360 panorama of Freki sitting on Baldur's seat with like Gurney like draping herself over the chair on top of him, and like all these soldiers in slow motion like knocking over tables and baking ale and